The cloud. All right. All right. Good morning, everybody. Just want to take a few minutes and talk about proximity best practices. Those of you who are patient, waited for me, thank you. First off, I want to talk about how to handle a proximity or event lead different than you handle a traditional media lead. Some of the things we do on traditional media, we already know that a traditional media is going to make a decision in a short period of time, right? They've already called us out because they have identified what their problem are, identified the fact that they know they have to have something done already, and literally have either set a little bit of funds aside or in a point where they're hoping there's financing or something involved into that, right? So when we look at basically proximity or events. Events generally is caught by somebody going to a home show, which means they would have a little more interest, right? Or they could be at a apple butter festival or something crazy like that. They could be caught at some kind of an event aspect where they're talked to by an individual and they decide to set up an appointment to get an idea what it would cost when it comes time to do the windows, right? Proximity, we're following, direct mail pieces around. We're following basically installs around, and we're knocking on doors and literally seeing if we can project any interest, which is actually really good. If you think about, a lot of the people out there, a lot of people know they need to get something done, but just the advertisement alone sometimes isn't enough to get them to pick up the phone or call. Well, you got to think about it. There's a couple good benefits right here, right? You take a proximity appointment, you take an event appointment, right? Number one, people like this, they do make spur of the moment decisions. Right? So there's no way they don't make snap decisions because they open the door for a stranger. They set an appointment with another stranger, and they're letting a stranger inside their house. That's three strangers. 3 times they've committed to letting a stranger inside their house, which is a decision they've made. So the fact you can't get them to make a decision is absolutely impossible to convince me any otherwise, right? So a lot of this has to do with the process and timing and our words. If you walk into that appointment and then instantly if you give the initial visit speech, they tell you they're not making a decision today. Well, duh. Of course they're not making a decision today because they're thinking in their mind they're a year or two out. So if you take that for granted and you start going negative there, you're not going to do well at that appointment or never do well at that appointment because you're taking for granted that they feel like they should make a decision and you think they're crazy for not taking advantage of the cost savings program. So in their mind, they're not ready to do it because, again, they're 1 or 2 years out. So it is important you pay attention to this kind of lead. Doesn't mean it's a bad lead at all. It actually means it's a really good lead because there's some benefits to this, right? So let's think about it. First off, we're going to talk about how to set off that cost savings program in a minute, but time out. We're going to rewind for a second. We're going to talk about it because I think you got to make sure on a proximity lead that, number one, you got to have the right mindset. If your mindset's jacked, then literally you walk into that project, you're not going to be successful. A couple things got to happen, right? Obviously, these people can be warmed up too easy because obviously if a younger individual coming into there doesn't have the same skill set as you, was able to set an appointment and get us out in that house, then there's ability they can be talked to, right? So you got to identify. Right now, color code comes in really well, right? We talk about a white, which is generally your autonomous, basically people that are setting into there. Well, what do we do? What do you think? Very, very autonomous, very much about peace and security, right? About peace and security. So again, when we walk in that house, we have to, my favorite line on proximity appointments, hey guys, I know I'm a salesperson till proven innocent. Is there anything I do today to make you feel uncomfortable? Will you please let me know? I'm a guest to your house, and I thank you so much for allowing me to come in and take a look at take a look at the project and see if it's something you even need to do. And if you want to do it at the end of it, we'll see if we can help. Okay. We got to disarm them off the start. We can't be in their face. Same thing as an event. Right? They're kind, they're lovey, they're almost wanting to warm up, right? Get right into it. So you're going to find a lot of blues, a lot of whites, and a lot of yellows here, right? Reds generally aren't going to set these type of appointments because they don't have time. Or if they do, they don't know what to expect, right? Most of them, though, are going to be blues, yellows, or whites because, number one, a yellow will warm up and sit there and talk to them all day long. A white is basically going to be autonomous, means we knocked on their door and they didn't have the heart to tell us no, and they know there's probably something that should be done in the house. A blue means they've probably been thinking about it for a little while, and they're testing the waters to see what an expert's going to say when they come into the house, right? So we got all these different things we got to put ourselves in the right mindset for. Now, one of the things you got to get wrapped around your head in the very beginning. This is probably not our typical buyer that we should be focusing on expecting them to come up with a bunch of cash. It's kind of like in the roofing business, right? You take the roofing business, most people doing a roof, a lot of times depend on their insurance money to help them actually pay for the roof because they weren't saving up for anything like this. It was an unfortunate incident that happened that's causing them to have to look at a roof. And the people that have saved up for one, now they might spend a little more money, but that's few and far between. So this type of customer, you have to have your mindset around that they are payment buyers. And I'm not talking 12 months no interest, 24 months no interest, 18 months no interest. These are 6.99 buyers for 60, 84, or 120 months to get them to the affordability aspect too. Now think about it also. You walk in a house that's like this and they got 20 windows in the house. Do you think they were prepared to spend 20 windows or buy 20 windows today? Maybe, but likelihood is probably not. So you need to be setting up a starter package really early. Now let's fast forward a little bit till we get to it, right? If I'm going to do a warm up with this customer, which is actually really important. So getting them and taking them and making you a real person in their mind is what you got to get to, right? These people depend on warming up to you. So whether you're talking about family, whether it's foreign family, occupation, recreation, what they like to do for fun, how long they've done it, are they from San Diego, what do your kids do, are they in sports, all that little fun, warm jazz, right? Finding their shrine in a customer like this is going to be very beneficial to you in helping you get yourself to that next level and get their head wrapped around instances and examples they can use to help them be professional, right? Or to help you be more professional and tie back that and relate windows to whatever that they enjoy spending money on or value spending money on more than they do just the commodity items. All right. So now when we get to a warm-up, we got to get the cost savings program. How you do the cost savings program on something like this is you want to tell them, you want to share with them, guys, honestly, this type of appointment we run is probably only about less than 10% of the time, right? Most of our appointments call us because they call us off the direct mail, off the television. I'm probably sure you've seen our ads off of that too. And they're ready. Most people are ready to make a decision on the initial visit, right? Still others might take 2, 3, 4 visits. What we do is we don't discriminate. We give everyone the same opportunity. So no one today you called me out, you might not be ready to be looking forward. We're going to give you the same opportunity as we give everyone else, right? So just to share with you again, we're going to give you 3 different prices today. First price is good for a year from today's date. That's protect you against any price increases and any unforeseen circumstances. Secondly, we do have an advertisement running out. Did you happen to see that in the mail or anything? No? Okay, well, I actually did bring a copy with you right here for you. So again, basically that copy, this is good for 30 days from today's date. Okay, actually till the end of the month. So again, that's a few days from now, but it does give you a few days to think about it. And then we do have something that's for customers who are basically know that they're ready to move forward on something anyway. So we do have what we call a cost savings program. A lot of years ago, we had an efficiency expert come by, really take a look at the project or take a look at our business model and figured out where we were losing money and where we could increase our opportunity costs, right? We found is sometimes we were going out and seeing the same customer 2, 3, 4 times where they said that if we offered them a discount on the initial visit, it'd be more cost beneficial to our company to make one visit and be able to take care of them in that same visit. So it cleared us up to see sometimes new people in the place of going back and seeing the same person in a second, third, and a fourth time, right? So if you're ready to make a decision today at the end of it and you think my price is fair, we encourage you to get started. We can offer you what we call a cost savings program. Now, I don't want to give you something and have to take it away, because I basically don't want to be the bad guy. So again, if you like what you see at the end of it and you think my price is fair, we encourage you to take advantage of that cost savings program. And I ask you to ask me for it so that way I don't have to take something away and be the bad guy on that aspect, right? So again, we will offer you those 3 prices today. The one price for a year, price for basically 30 days, or I guess to the end of the month based on what this one is. And we also give you that initial visit discount while we're out here today, right? That makes sense? Boom. But we want to tell them we're going to give you a chance to operate your appointment just like we do our normal appointments we run, right? So we want to make them feel special, like they have the availability for that opportunity, but we want to dangle it, right? Now, when we get into our exploratory after we're done with that, we really need to fill up, right? Find out if there's anything that they want about their windows. A lot of times this customer, they either don't know because they've closed their blinds, they've ignored the issues completely, and they've just forgotten about things, or the guy knocking the door might have sparked a memory about a window in the back that's been fogged up for 3 years. So you really don't know what you're going to walk into with this type of customer. So we really need to focus on, in this aspect, is really the inspection. Because if we don't light them on fire with the inspection and find out what they dislike or like about the windows, and if they don't know anything, then we need to ask permission to inspect. We need to find 3 to 5 things about the windows that they absolutely cannot stand, which makes them feel like they can't move forward, or they can't go another day without moving forward, right? Whether it's water management system, whether it's cracks in the stucco, whether it's fogged up, whether if they tell you energy efficiency would be nice to accomplish, right? This customer is big on basically saving money in that aspect, or there's some reason why they let you in the house. Even if they don't give it to you in the front, because again, we're trying to lower that level of basically anxiety, which is why we're trying to warm up with this type of customer. So if we can't find out in the beginning on why they called us out, we need to, by the time the inspection's done, man, we need to be the counselor. We need to have all that stuff out of them, right? Because we need to see what they've done to try to fix any existing problems on there. A lot of times you're going to find they haven't done anything, right? Second thing, we need to find if they spent any time or money on that aspect. And if they have, how long that's lasted and what they've tried to do, and make sure the final thing, they've given up trying to fix it on their own, right? If they've given up trying to fix it on their own, or they haven't even started, then that's a big deal. So when we're going around, we're inspecting the inside, the outside of the windows, we need to talk about energy efficiency, right? If I had a 16th inch gap around almost 3 by 5 foot window, that's like a 12 square inch hole leading directly outdoors of the home, John and Mary, right? If you could look right out that window and see to the next door neighbor's house, how long would it take you to patch that hole? Well, they say immediately. Why do you say that? Because I'm losing tons of energy. Now that's just one window. So we take all the windows in the house. How big do you think that hole is? Right? So again, next thing, let's talk about glass, right? Glass is basically glass and aluminum, which is what your windows are. Most 9 out of 10 times are going to be aluminum windows. If I got glass and aluminum, those are 2 of the best conductors known to man sitting in one window, right? So if I've got glass, think about putting a glass bowl in the microwave, right? Put cheese dip in the glass bowl in the microwave. It burns around the edges, right? But yet something happens where the glass is so hot you can't even pick it up. But if you dip a chip in the middle of the cheese dip, a lot of times that cheese dip is cold even though it's burnt around the edges, because the conduction's happening in the glass around the edges of it, not in the liquid itself. Same thing as aluminum, right? You walk up to aluminum fence early in the morning, it's covered in condensation and dew. You look at the windows outside early in the morning, covered in condensation and dew. Aluminum is another fantastic conductor, right? So if you got glass and aluminum setting in there, that is basically the reason for their inefficient energy bills, right? Just because they got glass and aluminum. Both of them being conductor. Hot is attracted to cold, right? So if I've got an ice water and I got a glass of coffee, right? And basically my coffee's steaming hot. That steam from the coffee is going to start shooting towards a cold glass of ice water because hot is attracted to cold. So again, if this is their window and their coffee is on the inside of the house, and basically there's just a piece of glass or aluminum and glass sitting here, which is a conductor, that hot is going to be attracted to that cold, which means all the heat inside the house is going to be leaving towards that cold weather. Or vice versa, if it's hot outside and basically you got your air conditioning on the inside, all that heat's going to be attracted towards that cold interior. So again, no matter what you do to your thermostat inside the house, you can't turn it down or up enough to change the temperature outside. So again, that's a never-ending battle you're going to continue to fight. So I bet you in a house like this, what do you pay, $800 to $1,000 a month utilities? And that's on houses that probably pay, you think in your mind, in between basically $300 to $400 a month. You want to guess high so you get the real number out. Then you want to write that number down because we're going to use that later, right? So again, we got to prepare ourselves for the inevitable. And after you take them around the inspection and look at the inside and outside wall conditions, right, where the extreme weather happens, the type existing, the basically fundamental reasons on why their windows aren't working in the first place, right? We got to find all those reasons why so they commit that these windows definitely need to be replaced, right? If you don't get the commitments on a proximity appointment, you're shooting yourself in the foot because you're never going to close this. The commitments are not everything here, right? Not to mention at the end of it, we have to sell the payment, not the price. So after we're done with that crazy inspection, right? They don't know us from Adam. So if we don't do a good job selling the company, how we're different from others in the industry and why that's important to them, we're failing. Because they might have never even thought about windows before, right? It just might have been a good idea when the guy knocked on the door to get a price. It might be something they've been thinking about a long time, know they need to be done, but they've let their house fall apart because that's easier than letting a stranger inside their house. So we got to set ourselves up for success here, right? So the next piece of it, when we take and walk them through our system, we want to let them know the options that are out there, the choices out there, why or why not it's a good or bad idea. Because if not, and you leave there and you only went through one choice, when you leave, they're going to question, well, what else could be out there that's cheaper? I've been living with this project for this long. Why do I need to spend that much money to get taken care of? So you need to show them what their options are along with price points. And you need to eliminate those going down basically that checklist. So that way there's no going back to anything after you're done. You need to have their mind at rest and concentrating on the next step, not basically any indecision. They've been really good at this point probably of making no decision, which is why you're there, okay? So this is your one opportunity. There's no second chance, especially on a proximity or an events appointment, right? So next, after we get your 100% confident, trust, and dream style remodeling commitment, now we've gotten 2. Next, we get into the product. We have to make them fall in love here, right? Because, 8-11 receptors in the brain are based on fear. So if we've done our job up to this point, creating fear and pain and making them beg for a Band-Aid, I'm not talk about basically energy efficiency and tell them how we're going to fix it in the same inspection. That's not the right way to do this. You have to make them feel pain, okay? If they're thinking 6 months to a year out, what in the damn inspection did you do to take them from 6 months to a year to 2 years out to today? Think about that. If we move forward, wrap your head around that. Because if your inspection isn't good enough, we haven't looked at inside conditions, outside conditions, made them fall in love with basically, or make them hate their windows because energy inefficiency, the 28% gas hike that basically SDG&E is going to have, basically security, inefficiency, operation reliability, all those things, and you haven't took them from 2 years to today, you're missing something gigantic. You have a gaping hole in your presentation. You might as well just pack your stuff up and leave because you're not going to get it. All right, now moving forward. So when we get past the company presentation, we make them fall in love with it and know they're 100% confident, trusting dream style remodeling, not 99, not 95, not the type of company like. Again, 100% confident, that's a big deal. We got to walk them through the process, right? Here's what's going to happen. Here's what you can expect. Here's why people choose dream style every day. Here's why we have, basically, over 167,000 windows and doors installed. Here's basically why we've been in business 30 years, right? 1 out of every 25 business we talked about lasts longer than 10 years. That's a scary statistic, right? 96% of contractors fail in 2 years. Another scary statistic. 80% of people taking the cheapest bid to get this project done basically couldn't get the project completed a lot of times, right? So you seem like the type of people that want to get this done right the first time and not do anything at all. We got to get these commitments from these guys, right? And in the very beginning, remember, we need to get that commitment right when we walk through the door. Beautiful house, how long have you owned it for? Probably going to take a stick of dynamite to get you out of this house, right? You can't leave anything open when you get to the end because they're going to wiggle out of everything you can get them out of, right? Because they're all about not doing anything. Not doing anything is in their DNA. So we have to get them out of their DNA, break that shell, and make them see that they can't live without these windows. Make sense? Or doors, whatever you're looking at. Next, we get the commitment to resolution. You have to tie back. You can't just do a good window demo, which means here's the glass, here's the frame, here's basically the operation. You need to tie every one of these things back to the pain you found in the inspection. If you're not tying every single thing that you found in the inspection and making your window presentation relevant to what they found in the inspection, you're wasting your time. Again, there's problems and solutions that need to be identified, but the solution comes at this point. You have to solve the problem, which is the fundamental reason why their windows have failed in that standpoint when you get to the end of it. Not to mention, you got to make them fall in love with the options, choices, colors, change, something that's extravagant that they're going to fall in love with. Because if they don't love the product at the end of it, they don't feel like it's the solution they've always wanted, the installation that they've always wanted that is going to address and fix the problem, then you haven't done a good job. Because you have to ask them that question. You got to be so confident. Look at me. So confident when you ask the question. Guys, you called me out here to address you know, the cracks in the stucco, or basically the heat coming into the house is making you uncomfortable. The hot to cold transfer, we talked about the 16th-inch hole leading directly outdoors. You said you would want that fixed, right? We've got to get them labeled into where we're tying back our solution to their pain. We sell solutions to people's problems, right? Today on the string, I posted out something that is so valuable, right? If you just think about this one quote, it ties into a proximity appointment, huge. And that basically quote today was sell the problem you solve, not the product. Sell the problem you solve, not the product. So when we look at that, we got to think about that. When we get down to the end, it's not the damn product that we're selling. It's the solution to the problem using our products, right? The solution to the problem using our products. We sell solutions, not products. We sell solutions, not products, and it has to be tied back to it, and they have to know without a doubt that this is what they need, it's what they want, and when it comes time, this is the window system they want and need to take care of the problems in their house. And if we don't get that commitment, we're not doing a good job. We're strictly leaving a gaping hole open for somebody else to come in after we've just done an hour and a half to 3 hours worth of presentation to come in with a cheaper price tag behind us and get the business that we need and the business we want and deserve. Because you forgot to get the commitment. You can't forget that. You got to tie it back to the pain. You got to tie the solution in there and make sure you get the commitment at the end of it, John and Mary. Ask them when you show the glass pack. How much, you know, our average customer says they say 25 to 40% off the utility bills. How much do you feel like you would save? God, probably 40%. Wow. So if we even saved you 30 or even 25, you'd be amazed with that, right? Yes. Great. Write it down. Now, let me guys ask you a question, right? We haven't talked about energy savings or anything yet. But as far as the window or door is concerned, have we met all your requirements that you call us out to meet? You said this, and this were important to you when you're going to look at replacing windows, right? And we found this, and this on the inspection that need to be addressed. Have we addressed all the fundamental reasons and concerns why you needed to replace your windows in the first place? Great. When it comes time, keyword, would this be the window system you not only want, but need in the house? Yes. Have we left off anything as far as design, colors, choices? That is what you want and need, correct? Yes. Anything else? No. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and talk about this for a second, right? Because obviously, sounds like to me that basically you're 100% confident, trust in Dreamstar Remodeling, right? They said when it comes time, you definitely need to get these windows replaced. And I see that there's a little more urgency here than we expected when we first walked in the door, right? And not to mention that we found when it comes time, you said the window and door system you only want but need when it comes time. So it sounds like to me, really the only thing keeping us from moving forward today is strictly the price of the payment that's keeping us from moving forward on the project. Is that it? Nothing else, guys? If we can meet a price or a payment that fits forward in the budget, can we go ahead and get your project started today? We got to ask that 100% of the time, especially on a proximity or events appointment. You've got to turn them from when it comes time to do the project, would you feel 100% confident, trusting Dreamstar Remodeling in your home? When it comes time, you agree these windows definitely need to be replaced, right? When it comes time, this is the window system you want and need for the project, right? When it comes time, I'm sure you want to do this project right the first time and not have to touch it again, right? Or not even do it at all? Yes. And we agreed earlier that they need to get the project done, so they've got to get something. So indecision's not there. It's the biggest thing you can get most everyone to agree to. You know, based on what you're doing, it looks like you're already paying for your windows. You're paying $400 a month every single month. Now, when SDG&E's got a 28% gas hike, that means you're going to be paying $518 to $600 a month based on what you're paying now. You really can't afford not to do anything. So if it's about price and payment and that's it, nothing else, I think you're really going to love what we've got to show you. Right? Now, when I fast forward, now remember, you got to put it when it comes time because we got to alleviate the anxiety, right? You start talking about today, these people are going to shut down because when they come out, remember, they think they're a year or two out. They think they're a year or two out. And basically the first steps, right? So my warm up, my need commitment, my trust commitment, even through my resolution commitment, these are all future steps in their mind. They're all future steps. It's when it comes time, when it comes time, when it comes time. When we get to basically that pre-close, that's taking them from future to today. Again, that's taking them from a future commitment to a today commitment because they know now they need to get something done. If we've done a good job, we lit their tail on fire in the beginning, especially in the inspection, and we've been showing them throughout the way how this makes sense, right? So if you need a little more ammo and they tell you they're not ready to commit today, then break out an energy audit on them. Talk about, how much money they've already paid for the utilities, right? You pay $400 a month right now. That means you've already paid over the last 6 years you lived in the house, $24,000 or $30,000 to already live in the house. And there's nothing we can do about that, right? If you lived in here another 10 years, let's say we take that energy hike into tax, right? That's $517 a month instead of $400 a month. If I take 517 by 120 months, because you said you're never leaving, that means that's going to be another $60,000 you're spending on your utility bill. If I take $517 times basically 120 months, that's a big fat number at the end of it. Let me ask you, are you willing to stay in your house, and really can you afford to do nothing at all? I think the answer we both know is no. So let me ask you again, would you keep an open mind to a good offer? And as long as we can fit a monthly investment that fits in the budget, can we go ahead and start your project today? So again, we need to get them in that standpoint. Next thing, we want to make sure that we are doing everything that we need to do in that inspection. We have to do a good job romancing here, as we talked about yesterday. If we're not romancing the order, again, right here, and making this thing feel so big, to somebody that hasn't prepared themselves at all on what windows cost, right? They're going to be looking at a car. It could be a $100,000 car, could be a $50,000 car, could be a $60,000 car, could be a $10,000 car, who knows? But they got to get themselves prepared and wrapped around this, because you have to make sure that you are making them understand what's happening and what's about to happen. And you got to take them through this walk of life and put them in a slice of life they can understand. So again, when we look at it, we want to make sure when we drop that list investment that we are putting ourselves in a position where they can give us that commitment to value. Because if they commit to value, that it's a good value to take care of the project on their home. So John and Mary to take care of everything we talked about today, not to mention the surprises that we found on the inspection. Can you see again how we hold the value of only $34,746 as a good value to take care of the project on your home, John and Mary? Well, we weren't expecting to pay that, but yes. Now time out. If you don't have a starter package here already figured up again, just like we spoke about before, you're doing yourself a disjustice. These people have never saved up for money for windows in their entire life. They didn't even know they were going to do it because somebody knocked on the door. They caught them at the freaking fair. If you're not selling the hell out of the payment here, you're not doing yourself any justice. You're walking away from more business than you're going to gain. So what I want to explain real quick is after we get that commitment to value, now it's about taking it down. Now it's about taking it down, right? Now we got to basically explain the discount, and we got to make them think that they just fell into the lottery. They just found the best freaking discount on the face of the planet that we've had, that we've never had this good a one before. Because again, we got to get them sold into the process. Guys, unfortunately, fortunately for you, you walked into a time where we normally don't offer something this good. It's actually the best one I've ever seen. Matter of fact, we just celebrated our anniversary. So normally, this is the best one you'll ever run into. But right now, we're offering our Dream Style Savings because we just celebrated our 30-year anniversary. So this is probably the best one I've ever seen, saving you 25% off the project. That's going to save you a total off your project of $5,643 that normally the project would cost that much more, right? Because you get able to take advantage of saving, taking the total savings down to only, $27,436. Or what our savvy customers do, of course, is they take advantage of opening an account at 60 months. They're basically a total of about $543 a month, or basically they'd go ahead and take advantage of 12 months, no interest, no payment program. Let me ask you, when it comes time, how does that $543 fit in the budget? And then we shut up. We need to push the payment here, not 12 months, no interest. Remember, these people, even though it's no interest, they still have to come up with that money, right? And if you're scanning your parameters, and I'm not telling you to prejudge, we want a positive prejudge, but if we're scanning our parameters, we need to really be fighting them to take a payment, not a 12 months or 24 months no interest program. We need to be fighting to take that 6.99 because, again, remember, it's an unsecured rate. And if we don't sell the payment here, in an industry, when I first started, just to let you know how important the payment is and pushing that payment. In the industry, when I first started, we ran what we call cold call appointments, right? Which means a call center agent called somebody on the phone that was sitting on their couch and pushed us in the house. Hey, I got a guy in your area. He'll be there in the next 30 minutes. He'll stop by and give you a price on when it comes time. We know you're not interested in buying it anyways. You just want to get a price when it comes time, right? Okay, great. He'll be there in 30 minutes. Click. All right, babe, buddy, I got a hot one for you on the phone. They're out there 30 minutes. Go ahead and you just drive on out there, buddy, and they'll be there. Drive on out there to the house. They meet you at the door and said, I'm not buying a damn thing. I told that guy not to even send you out. Well, sir, I did come out here on my own money, right? And basically, I did drive out here on my own money and my own time. And, I really don't get paid unless I give you a presentation. You wouldn't want to see me go without getting at least a paycheck, right? Would you at least know that if you're not going to get something done now, you're at least going to have to get something done in the future? That makes sense, right? So again, we got to wrap our mind around this is the mindset of these people, right? So again, if they weren't expecting, they were sitting on their couch eating Cheerios, or basically somebody knocked on the door and caught them doing yard work, and they didn't want to feel rude and told them they could come out, right? If we've done our job doing our presentation at this point and selling each incremental step, we've got ourselves in a good position to get this order. But we can easily go out. So fast forwarding, when we talk about that payment, if we didn't offer a payment and push a payment on this, and we had people pay cash on these type of appointments, we would literally get yelled at on the phone. What are you doing? That cancellation is going to be to your door. I can't believe you didn't freaking push them towards a payment. Why didn't you sell the payment? They weren't expecting to pay cash. Did you put them in succession or a position to succeed or fail? Remember, the payment is what we need to sell. It goes that same way here. We have to sell that payment. We have to have them prepared for the reason on why they can make it affordable. It's our job to make that affordable. Because we just told them there's anything besides price or payment that's going to keep us from moving forward, right? And in some cases, yes, some whales out there can write us check for it, even though maybe they shouldn't because they should take advantage of low monthly investment. The biggest deal is we have to get their head wrapped around why that payment is a good deal and how they can't afford to live it because they're already paying for their windows. Push the payment, not the price. Push the payment, not the price. So at the end of it, we got to push that payment. And if we look at it, and they're tapping out at $543 a month, we need to be pushing out and realizing, is it going to be worthwhile to extend the term after we sell the reason on why we have the opportunity to sell the term? And why we can take it out to a 7-year and 10-year and not change basically the interest rate. Or we need to get our starter package together right away. Last thing we want to do is get them tap out and start pulling away. We don't want to get them to tap out right away and start pulling away from the project. We want to get them to get engaged and involved into it. If we get them engaged and involved into that payment, now we're working with them, not against them. We're not trying to push them into something that's over their spending limit. We're trying to help find out what is affordable, right? So 543 is affordable. What is more like affordable, right? Are we talking 450, 475? What are we talking here? Like, probably $150. That's all we can afford. Well, you shouldn't be dabbling in the whole project then. You need to be scaling it down. Because there's likelihood if they can only afford $150 a month, then you're putting them over their head, and they're either going to have an FTD, a bank reject, or something in there. You're going to put them in a position where they can't be successful and you can't be successful. One of the most important things in here, it doesn't mean you got to we're not looking to get a whole house if we can get it. But sometimes if we get a whole house because our arrogance makes us go there, that might not be the right thing to do. It might be a good thing to break it into quarters or break it into half and walk away with something so we mark our territory so you have a customer that you can go back and see again later at another date. You can drop back by and get your ARCs. These people are going to be more likely to give you self-gens. They're going to be more likely to give you a review because, again, you worked your tail off on something and you took your time where no one else would take their time with it, right? And you were the first opportunity in here. It means they're not shopping around for other projects. They're literally doing it or not doing it based on what type of presentation you gave. Right? So again, a lot of good things there. But again, selling the payment is 9/10 here. We have to get down to the payment. And the 6.99, not no interest, not cash, the 6.99. Okay? A lot of times in this places too, they tell you, well, we don't finance anything. Well, why do you think that is? Do you think it might be because they think they're credit challenged? Do you think it might be because they either don't feel like they're credit worthy? Remember, the biggest thing you can do, the worst thing you can do is not get the project started, at least get them to fill out a price tag, right? Let me ask you, John and Mary, when it comes time to do a project like this, let me ask you, how would you feel your credit is? Is it a 9 or 10 or is it a 4 or 5 like mine? No, it's probably not so good. We had some bumps and blemishes. Well, guys, the only thing we can do is try. The nice thing for you is we give our banks probably about $70 million a year worth of advertising. Or worth of basically finance projects. So they give us a little better treatment with some of our lenders than others. So if we don't try, I think you're doing yourself a disjustice. Can we try to do a good job for you? Would you allow us to do that? Shake their hand, go at it again, right? Sometimes people might be embarrassed to tell you what their personal situation is, right? Our job here is to almost be the counselor and open them up. Figure out if we have a shot. It's not your job to tell them they can't qualify for financing. That's not your job. Your job is to get the damn thing on paper. And if we can't get them approved for financing, then go back and try to sell them 1 or 2 windows or a side door or something to market territory. Always walking away with something is better than walking away with nothing and putting a strike on your closing percentage because you didn't take the full maximum effort. And then secondly, if we end up able to close these customers, which I think we should be, really, I think we should be. If we did a good job on the inspection, we got our commitments through the process, you did a return on investment, you might have to use some analogies as far as an insurance close or a little bit of justification with these people because, again, remember, they haven't thought about this project till today. And you're the one that's leading them to the promised land. So as it comes down to the end of it, you need to warm down with this customer, right? After you get the yes or no, after you get the yes with this customer, warm down. You need to warm down, take them off the mountain, right? Because there's been a lot of emotion. They've been in this thing thinking about this project for maybe a long time, maybe not so long. Maybe they know they need to get it done, but they got anxiety because they don't want to spend the money or don't feel like they can afford to spend the money. So you need to take them off the mountain before you leave. You need to warm down with them. Talk about anything except for windows, right? As you're doing your warm down, your post-rescission script on this thing is gigantic, right? As you're doing the paperwork and you get done with the paperwork, you explain, John and Mary, hey, unfortunately for you, we do a lot of business. And the one thing we know is, sometimes anxiety can kick in, right? Let me ask you guys a question. From everything to this point we've done, are you still 100% comfortable? Yes. Well, the federal government gives you 3 days to check out the company and make sure they are who they say they are, right? And, based on that, do you have any questions that we're Dreamstyle Remodeling and that you're 100% confident with us? No, so that doesn't seem like an option. It seemed like an issue, right? So after we leave today, and I push send on this, just to let you know, it's like a freight train. It's impossible to get this project stopped once we push start, right? That's why I always ask you up front, is there any reason whatsoever that you don't want to move forward with the project? Because just like marriage, I don't want to have it start something and stop because that looks really bad on us, the company. And it's almost impossible to stop this thing through the process. So just like a marriage, speak now, forever hold your peace. I do. Well, thank you guys very much. Shake their hand and say, guys, we appreciate it. We're going to do an awesome job for you. You're going to love everything, right? Finish your paperwork, get done, set your laptop or set your iPad and everything off to the side and take about 15, 20 minutes and warm down with this customer. You have to take them off the mountain, right? They just made a decision today they weren't expecting to make. So you have to take them off that mountain. You got to alleviate that so that way they don't have anxiety when you leave and think, you know what, he got my business and he just took off, or she got my business and just took off. You don't want to make them feel that. You want them to feel like they just bought from a friend. You want to make sure they have their number, that you're talking about what they're going to do this weekend, what their activities are, if they've got any trips planned, that type of stuff, and make them feel like you're a real person. And when you warm down with them at the end of it, you're going to find that almost eliminates rescissions because you're taking it and making it personal. All right. A lot of big information today, right? We talked about best practices on proximity. It happens the second you walk in the door. If you get resistance at the door again, it could be they think that they only need broken glass. That's your job in the inspection to tell them why they don't need why a piece of broken glass isn't solving a problem, it's putting a Band-Aid on, right? You could be basically, they could fight you a little bit at the door and tell you they didn't really want the appointment. That's anxiety. I didn't expect for you to buy anything today anyways. I did say when it did come time to do the project, they just said you needed to know what it's going to cost so you knew what to save up for, right? And if you don't know what to save up for, how are you ever going to get something like this started if you don't know what it costs? So at least today, let's go ahead and get you an investment on what it's going to cost when it does come time. Hey, I don't need the most expensive. I need the I don't want something expensive and elaborate. That's a defense mechanism too. You know what today, get John and Mary? Hopefully we're going to show you by the end of it how definitely we're not the most expensive at all, but we're the best value for you. And I think that's what's important to you, right? Who's the best value? I think you're going to see that today. So again, you have to get some of these things out of the way, and you got to make sure you can make people just be real. That's why the warm-up, the way you inspect it, your disarming statement when you walk in, John and Mary, I'm a sales person till proven innocent. If I do anything that makes you feel uncomfortable, please let me know right away, and I'll make sure we get right back on track again. Does that make sense? Good. Thank you guys so much. So again, with that said, a lot of good information that we just put in place. So we want to make sure we're doing those little things that add to big. JC asks, what about solar? If somebody has solar in their house now, okay, it might not be about the energy bills. It might be about the discomfort, right? So just think about it. Even though they do solar, that hasn't stopped the heat from coming in. It hasn't stopped the UV rays from fading things. It hasn't stopped their operational unreliability. It hasn't stopped basically cracks happening around stuccos and all those other problems. You just got to be better at selling the pain and then what it's going to cost later if they don't get something fixed, right? So if it's not about utility bills, it's about what it's going to cost to get it fixed later if they don't get it taken care of now, right? So you find something that scares you about the project or scares them about the project or something that's falling apart and you can't believe they haven't gotten to it yet, right? And there's got to be a good reason to what stood in the way. Well, it's money. So it could be operational reliability, could be appearance, could be change of design. We got to find the reasons why that we're even out there anyways. Because if everything was perfect and solar was doing the whole job for them and they were still so comfortable, they wouldn't even be thinking about windows. They'd say, no, thank you, and close the door. So why are you there? If you don't realize why you're there and try to find that reason, then you're not doing a good job as a consultant. And we don't want to ever get to a point where we can just push a button on a computer and have me do a presentation or somebody like me do a presentation where we don't need in-home sales consultants. That's why we got to find the reasons why we're in the house, we're even there. If you take your time and listen, even if they don't give you the right answer up front, keep working on it till you find the right answer. Keep asking the same question in different ways in different parts of the presentation that will help you get the results you desire and need from the end of that appointment, right? We talk about fill up before you pour out. In this type of appointment, that warm-up side of it is gigantic. Again, the warm-up and getting them to be a real person is gigantic because friends tell friends what their problems are. Friends share with friends what their problems are. Friends don't cancel on friends. So again, your job is to make a friend in that appointment and then get them to be real and share with them like you're really concerned for their house. You're really concerned for the condition, the environment that's here, and not just anything's going to work. Here's why we need to do what we do. Does that make sense? If you were just somebody at a cheap price, wanting a cheap price, and I didn't care about, here's the way most people would tell you to do it. But knowing that we take a little time to get to know each other, let me tell you what I would do if this were my house. And I wouldn't do anything else because it's not going to work. You got to get them in a position like that where people trust you and want to basically do business with you. Hopefully that makes sense. That's another good probably 45 minutes worth of video that I'll send out to you guys later today. Hopefully you enjoyed. Is there any questions before we get off on this topic about events or proximity that you feel like I didn't cover that you wanted to see covered on this? Anybody got any content or any questions they have? Give it one more minute. With that, no. All right. Appreciate you guys showing up today, man. Love you guys. Let's have a great day yesterday. Did over $230,000 yesterday alone. So let's go out and smoke another good day today. And I'll see you guys on the board and have a great weekend. And we'll see you guys on Monday.